The new model is taking what we know about human change, human behavior, and incorporating all of the elements of the Texas model and the need for healthy connection, the need for repair, the need for empowering, and developing a system that incorporates all of those concepts in a way that is fair, it's consistent, and it's leveled at the child. We are taking the latest research and data on how change occurs and incorporating it into a system that is not punitive. It's meant to guide, service, and assist the child through the process. And so our new stage model is designed to do just that, to expect mistakes, to expect the youth to have setbacks, and that there be challenges and barriers that they need to overcome. And by building a model that requires active participation of the youth service team, that builds off of skills learned at each level, doesn't set unrealistic expectations for the kids, we'll have more success because we're really meeting the kids where they are versus sort of creating unrealistic expectations. So before I go through each of the stages and what we're looking for as a kid progresses through them, the key thing is that every adolescent or every child that comes to us gets a thorough assessment of their risk and protective factors. And while we are looking at these assessments, we are looking at responsivity needs. And responsivity needs are essentially the treatments and interventions that are necessary to reduce a person's risk to reoffend sufficiently enough that they can be successfully taken back into the community. And so when I say risk factor, the kids often put it as something that gets you into trouble. That could be a history of substance use, not a safe place to live. And a protective factor, as the kids put it, is something that keeps you out of trouble. So involvement in church, school, having a pro-social, healthy caregiver in the home. And so through targeting these different risk and protective factors in a treatment and therapeutic way, we are in a sense hitting the kids' responsivity needs. We're addressing the things that will allow them to be successful in the community.
So you're being very deliberate with each individual child and what works for them.
Absolutely. What's beautiful about the new stage model is that built within the criteria for progression is responsivity need, meaning every kid's progress is going to look different, and our new stage model allows us to catch every kid that comes through our system instead of a more rigid, only the smartest and get through it. Stage one's focus is on safety. This is where the person is probably not really interested in changing, or maybe they don't really see a need to change. They're pretty comfortable in the life that they've got. And so at this point, the youth service team's goal is to teach regulation skills, ways to calm yourself down, ways to effectively communicate what you need in a respectful and meaningful way. It's all about allowing the person to begin to have a voice that's heard not through physical violence or aggression, but through their ability to communicate effectively. And so a large emphasis in stage one is placed on basic safety principles. It's teaching them the principles that they need to keep themselves safe and to communicate effectively what their needs really are. Versus sometimes, we see kids who maybe lash out, scream, yell, curse, and kind of get real big in posture because they don't feel heard. And so in stage one, we teach them ways to more effectively communicate that doesn't involve threatening or acts of aggression. Stage two focuses on taking all the skills learned in stage one about safety, about regulating yourself, about communicating effectively, and builds off of them. We'll have a little higher expectations for how a person goes about handling their emotions, but this stage is largely focused on connection, the ability to manage, navigate healthy pro-social relationships. In stage two, you'll see more of an emphasis being placed on a person being able to have conversations on what their risk protective factors may be. We'll see a little more exploration of long-term educational, vocational goals, along with really re-entry planning beginning pretty intently at stage 2 as well. Unlike previous stage systems, re-entry, going home, should be a conversation that happens very early on in the youth's time with us. And so stage 2 really takes beginning conversations and begins to form some real plans behind them as to what going home or re-entering the community will look like.
And so that's helpful in that the youth is envisioning.
Absolutely. It's no longer when you get out or if you get out. No, it is an active process that your youth service team helps you get to.
And who's all on the youth service team?
The youth service team is made up of really anyone who's involved in the kids' care. But some of the primary role models and folks involved are the case manager, the mental health professional or treatment provider who's involved in the youth's treatment programs. We have representation from the coaches, the folks who live with the kids day in and day out. Often we'll have some outside input from educational participants, and maybe parole officers or family members should always be invited to the youth service team as well. But the number one most important person is the youth is always present in their youth service team. So stage 3 takes everything learned in stage 1 and 2 and just continues to build. A person who's in stage 3 we'll see is actively taking steps towards a healthier and pro-social successful lifestyle. This is when a child is actively involved in their specialized treatment programming, they're going to all the groups they should be, maybe they're starting to see some real progress in their grades and have really identified a career path opportunity. Stage 3 is really about the person taking responsibility with the support of their youth service team. And so a person in the stage 3 is taking action, and that's the most important part of stage 3, is we're seeing real progress towards long-term successful living. Stage 3 youth will be motivated, they will be able to communicate their needs more effectively, and we'll see really the beginning semblance of a long-term successful plan.
And they're making their own plans now at this point, or with your support. What does that look like between the team and them? Give me some examples of what.
Absolutely. So let's say a young person has a desire to go into welding. So when you're in the stage 3, your youth service team has helped you identify schools for welding, what prerequisites or things you may need to complete before you can pursue that career. And the person in stage 3 will really know what steps are needed to take to follow up with that long-term goal. And so they've taken a look at what their risk factors are, and they've developed plans for reducing them so that they're not a problem for them in the community, and they've identified healthy, protective ways that they'll be able to get their needs met that allows them to continue to be successful.
It sounds like this all goes back to what you said earlier too about the youth and the team. They're envisioning the future, and they're talking about the future all the time. Maybe that didn't happen as much before. That's part of the new.
Every kid is going to leave us, and we want to give them all the tools and the skills that they can so that they're able to leave us with as much protective safety netting as possible. And so in the new stage model, that building that net or building that safety starts on day 1. And we are going to empower and facilitate and assist the kid in any way we can in really achieving these long-term goals that keeps them out of the criminal justice system.
Give me an example of how you're empowering a kid.
Empowering a child within the Texas model stages looks a lot like giving them a voice and an opportunity to have a say in what their long-term success looks like. And so let's say a young person wants to go to beauty school or maybe cosmetology, and instead of at the end of their time with us, here's a list of referrals to places, we start on day 1. Okay, what steps do we really need to take to get you there? What certifications, licensures, things of the sort? And it's the kid who guides that conversation. No longer are we, handing the kid a packet of jobs and say, okay, good luck when you get out there. We're allowing them to really take a leadership role through the safety and the empowerment of the youth service team. And so it's not necessarily a adult driven exclusively, but it allows us to work hand in hand with the child and allow the child to have a voice in really what long-term success looks like for them. Stage 4 is really the final stage in our system, and at this point they've developed a plethora of skills along the way, and it's their opportunity to demonstrate that they have the independence, that they have the skill set to be successful. And so what an exciting time that while they're with us and as they're beginning to leave, they'll be able to demonstrate and show all of the progress that they've made. And so you'll see kids at stage 4 have the ability to work jobs on campus, or more actively involved in really assisting the day-to-day things that we do. And those folks will be really empowered to be leaders within the dorm environment and where, on the different campuses.
So their ideas are welcomed.
Absolutely, yeah. A person who's achieved stage 4 has come a very long way, and they are very close to being, out of high restriction. And so they should be given the opportunity to demonstrate the skills that they've developed prior to step down. What a better place to practice than, within a safe environment. So throughout any stage in our new model, we understand that mistakes happen and that there can be what we call relapses or poor decisions, whatever it may be. And in the old model, if you had a relapse or you made a mistake, you'd be demoted, you'd move back, and you'd likely have to redo a lot of the things that you've already accomplished. In our new system, we have a process called repair. And repair is a therapeutic response to a relapse. And so if a child, let's say, gets upset and breaks a chair, no longer are they going to be demoted and have to kind of re-earn their privileges and work their way back. They will be paused in a way, and the emphasis of their youth service team is to make a therapeutic repair to whatever relapse or event happened. And so the kid who broke a chair will be responsible for completing a behavior chain analysis, exploring what thoughts, feelings, beliefs really led them to this place. They'll be asked to maybe engage in some restorative justice concepts like cleaning, helping the staff to clean the dorm or taking out the trash, whatever it may be. And these are meant to be relatively short term, but really intervention focused time periods where the youth service team and the kid makes a repair. They fix the wrong or the backsliding that may have occurred. And when they're done, they go back to the stage they were before. You don't lose skills forever because you made a mistake.
Why is that important? That seems like this is a big part of this whole, yeah.
Because we know that's how behavior happens. You think about it, when you've ever tried to have a diet or go through a diet before, make different changes to your life, you're going to slip up and have an ice cream every once in a while, whatever it may be. But that doesn't mean that you've lost out on all the progress that you've made before. And so in the new model, a therapeutic repair allows the individual to engage in really targeted interventions on what happened, but they don't go back to the very beginning. They get an opportunity to go back to where they were and demonstrate the skills that they've learned.
Does this comport with like trauma-informed care? It
Absolutely.
Seems like, yeah.
Absolutely. You don't give up on a person because they've made a mistake. And in the new stage model, instead of a person getting demoted and maybe having a loss of privileges for a period of time and where they on themselves have to earn their way back, the new stage model in therapeutic repair places an emphasis on the team gathering around the child and fostering and guiding them back to the progress they were making before.